Hey kids, we're talking about Pokemon this week, something that Sam Lagow knows nothing about, so really it'll be me steering this week.
I haven't really been spending the last 20 years of my life sinking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into, the various games, anime, spin-offs, manga of this franchise. I think I owned a board game at one point.
I was about to say that I think a board game is the most esoteric Pokemon product I've seen in person, at least in America. Like in Japan, there's tattooed on someone's fucking forehead, but...
They probably have pachinko machines.
Oh, there's pachinko machine for every brand.
There's no way that they don't have Pokemon pachinko machines.
There are pachinko machines for products that weren't even a success in the normal niche. Like, I'm sure you could just dig up a Drake of the 99 Dragons pachinko machine somewhere out there.
The 99 what?
This was a legendary video game failure on the Xbox. It was essentially an attempt to make a sort of crazy-ish stylized third-person shooter.
Oh, okay, so the most famous, I guess, Xbox failure I know of is the one with the cat where they were trying to have Blinks.
That had two sequels.
Where they were trying to have a mascot for the Xbox. You know, sort of how Sega had Sonic and Nintendo had Mario. They wanted their own.
Yeah, and instead they got a little, what they call a stock value dip.
Yeah, no one remembers Blinks. Morgan remembers Blinks, but Morgan has played so many fucking video games that no one else remembers because they didn't actually sell.
Are
that
they
well.
some kind of archivist?
I don't know. It's really fucking uncanny how I will bring up some really esoteric, obscure nonsense, and they'll be just like, "Oh yeah, me and my siblings used to play that."
Because their thing with video games is they will know nothing about a Gears of War or a fucking Mario Odyssey, as far as I can tell.
But show them Echo the Dolphin.
Yes, one of the 3 people left alive who remembers Echo the Dolphin or Blinks the Times.
Cat.
It's like Fahrenheit 451, and they're just passing down the tapes.
Passing down fucking the Book of Ecclesiastes. No, exactly. Yeah, no, they played all the way through Sonic 06. I don't even think Game Grumps was able to get through Sonic 06.
Yeah, Sonic Sword gameplay doesn't lead to smiles.
How do you?
I'm confusing it with the Black Knight thing, whatever.
I didn't actually think that it was possible to get, actually possible the way that the game was programmed to get through Sonic 06, and yet...
And yeah, I mean, the Sonic franchise just keeps digging, and it's fascinating. It's kind of like that game Motherload, where eventually the thing breaches hell, but you can keep going. And that's really Sonic Team for a long time. Maybe even still now, I don't know. I don't track the game edge of Sonic that close anymore because I'm not either a self-flagellator or that particular brand of fetishist. I will not make fun of furry people for a second, because when you really break it down, the shit I do with my consenting adults is weirder than just putting on a suit. But that is not my particular lifestyle tile. Now,
I'm a little not about how fucking culty it is.
Go on.
Cool, I'm gonna be making some enemies here. Yeah, so...
So the weekly thing where we insult half the country's political opinions is fine, but the 3% of fucking furries are gonna kick dust on.
There's a lot of fucking furries on the left, for whatever the fuck reason. I don't know. It's fucking Scientology with suits. It's like... And there are levels of it. Like Scientology, there are levels of it, right? You know, the ones who are, not too amazingly deep into it, who still draw the art or whatever... Ooh, it's like, hey, it's not even a sex thing. Oh, no, not yet, it's not. Not at level 1. This... In truth, this is not a question for me. I've been a little bit too, shall we say, squeamish to actually get into the
Okay, how much time are you going to spend researching the deep tissue of fetishes that aren't yours? I think that's just having a closeted version of the thing.
Probably, yeah. No, that's not a bad point.
There's only so much time you can spend researching the intricacies of BDSM videos in German before it's really about your lifestyle.
Until you are just, about the BDSM German videos. I don't want to spend too long on this because I've got all sorts of fucking shit I could talk. I don't want to. That's not why we're here.
All right. Evacuate that topic. So the reason that Sonic thing also comes up in my head is just mascot-based video games.
Yeah.
It will always occur to me that the whole Pokemon, Monster Hunter, Digimon thing is the most brilliant thing in the world. Not just the general marketing of cute creatures, because that's an eternal thing, but one mascot? We don't need one mascot. What if this game was made of mascots?
This
and you
entire franchise is mascots.
Just pick your favorite mascot. There'll be some continuity between mascots. There'll also be shiny new mascots. There'll be a while where some of the mascots look like robots or stripes. So let me sort of right the ship.
Oh, everyone fucking shits on Gen 4. Gen 4 didn't deserve it. Gen 6 deserved it.
Which one
and
was
Gen
Gen
6
6?
didn't get it. Gen 6 was the one where they only came up with like fucking 70 new ones and then put you in France as if I wanted to go there.
70 new Pokemon.
Might have been 77. Let's not be disingenuous here.
Ooh la la. Well, yeah, you were just really downplaying their effort there. That's 10% more new.
Now, in fairness, Johto, Gen 2, the best remembered gen. Is it my favorite? I don't know. It's up there. The best remembered gen, Gen 2, only introduced about 90 new Pokemon. I want to say maybe it was upwards of 100. It was not that many. But
in a technological generation where it would make a Game Boy Advance bleed out the side speaker.
Actually,
it feels a little more notable to add 90 new ones at that point than...
I'm trying to think of the but here, but the thing is, I've been replaying in research for this episode, and also just because... Actually, not even in research for this episode. This episode exists because I dug my... my 3DS out of my backpack, having remembered that it was there, and happened to see that Heart Gold was plugged in. So I started playing that again. And then I was like, ooh, maybe I'll listen to some Pokemon lo-fi hip-hop on YouTube. And then I started doing that.
What makes it Pokemon hip-hop? Did he use Pokemon melodies as the basis for the beats, or does someone just say Charmander every 30 seconds? Okay.
It the former was like, Homework Girl, except it's a national park music.
Homework Girl. That one musical group, City Girl, has basically staked their career off of getting that Homework Girl energy, and good on them because I actually do like City Girl. But
speaking of City, I think one of the lo-fi artists who does a whole bunch of stuff with Pokemon music. I think her name is Glitch City.
Mm-hmm.
She's good.
She's good.
Gonna give her a shout out here. Yeah.
That's our first Weeaboo Hell musical shoutout that was not Dennard referencing Metal Band 272.
Also, she's a 4th gen apologist like I
am. You guys can be the resistance, plant your flag as the horde comes.
Perhaps 4th gen had 1 or 2 Pokemon designs that were not exactly... Like, I get it. I get, like, you're on fucking Route 201, and the first thing you see is a fucking Bidoof, and then you decide, no, man, I'm done. I get it. I understand why you might think that. And then later, you get to fucking Skorupai and Drapion and think that they are profoundly stupid designs. And they are. You're not wrong. But Krogunk.
So here's a flame war generating question.
Uh-huh.
Just because I don't really like Peace that much. Like, Peace is a sometimes food.
Mm-hmm.
So as a Poke person...
Yeah.
What is your favorite and least favorite generation of this business?
My favorite generation... 5. My favorite generation is 5. I thought 5 fucking ruled. I loved being just plopped in the middle of a whole bunch of fucking new Pokemon. You don't even see anything from previous gens until after the Elite Four.
Okay, I imagine that makes things feel a little fresher.
5 was also set in an Ursat's New York, so they were kind of just playing to...
Oh, it's the one I played, okay.
Yeah, they were just kind of playing to the... I was a fan and I was being serviced. My least favorite gen. I shit on 6. I didn't end up loving 7 that much. I haven't played 8, not because I was mad that not all of the Pokemon would be in it and they'd be like kind of behind DLC walls, which is, yeah, admittedly a little bit shitty. Mostly just because I didn't want to shell out for a home console.
That's fair. That's fair. Money does not grow on trees. It's a cotton-based polymer. Don't come in with your technocrat shit.
But 7, I wasn't too amazingly into 7 ultimately because the region was like, it's Hawaii, I guess.
We have kahunas.
We have kahunas instead. And like I should respect it, right? I do respect it because it was doing something very, very different from what they usually do. But ultimately, I do not think that the world ended up feeling too amazingly interesting. I don't think they used the 3D, not the 3D like the actual 3DS, but I mean like the sort of how it exists in 3 dimensions thing, as well as they did in Gen 6. Didn't love the Pokemon from Gen 7 that they introduced. I mean, Incineroar is cool. He's Eddie Guerrero.
There is a fascinating tug of war in how these Pokemon games are evaluated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because on some level, when you get over to Gloss, it's kind of like fucking Tetris, where the formula of what you get out of it and how it's delivered is pretty defined.
Mm-hmm.
Which leaves a really limited space for innovation. And then the question becomes, how much do you require out of it for you to say, I've had a fresh experience? How much can they rest on their laurels before they say, oh, you've kind of ripped me off here? And it's interesting seeing where everyone's line for that goes. Full disclosure, I haven't done too many Pokemon games. I understand why the content is sometimes kind of samey. I don't really hold it against them that, it's delivering the Mon experience.
The Mon experience, yeah.
But I find that I am best served by this franchise when I skip 3 or 4 generations and get all the new features heaped on me at once. I'm like, oh, this is a distinct experience now.
Oh, see, that's how I can tell that I'm getting old, because that's another one of the things about 7 is that as the games have gone on, they've added more and more and more features to them. A lot of them involve like network features. A lot of them are just, I don't know, weird shit that you can also get up to in addition to like the core game. And the more they do this, the more they fucking lose me, because I just can't it's not their fault. It's me. I'm just getting too fucking old or something, because I cannot pay attention to all of it, and it's distracting, and I'm always, whenever I turn on a game after longer than, a week away from it, I have no idea what the fuck is going on anymore, or what I should be doing, or where I should be going.
I think it's a borderline specialty hot dog joint problem, right? Because you go to a hot dog joint, and they just need to think of new combinations of ingredients to dump upon the beef hot dog to fill out the menu and keep the gimmick going.
I think 4 had the perfect, Gen 4, and this is one of the reasons why I'm very forgiving of Gen 4. Gen 4 had the perfect amount of stuff in it. It had the game, and then on top of the game, you had, the option of doing like a global link thing. I'm pretty sure it wasn't like too amazingly integrated. And it's like you go to this one building somewhere and you could do fun stuff online with people in, like India, whatever. And then there is the I think it was called the Poketch. It was very poorly translated. It was a Pokemon watch. I don't know. It's like this little thing. It has apps. It's vaguely smartphone-esque, and some of them were kind of fun. Some of them were like utilities. Like one was like literally a calculator, and you get like little cards as you progress through the 4th gen games. That was fine. I could keep track of that. You just pressed like a little button, it would cycle through them. But the further on they got, even in 5th gen, I cannot remember what the lower screen was dedicated to, but it was almost entirely online, and you also had the Dream World, and like
The Dream World?
The Dream World, yeah, guys, I can deal. I only have enough.
Excuse me,
I need attention span for one world here.
Excuse me, I need to know about the Jungian subconscious of a fucking Gyarados.
Okay, so the Dream World was this. I never even fucking did it, but apparently it was where you could find Pokemon with hidden natures. Right? So there were Pokemon. Then in Gen 3 they had natures. Then in Gen 5 they had hidden natures, which were Pokemon that had a really cool special nature that you could only access under certain circumstances, usually involving a Wi-Fi hookup of some sort.
I'm fascinated by people who are into the gameplay axis of it on this level, because you could not, for the life of me, get me past the words effort value. My eyes just glaze over.
See, that's the one thing that I'll... Not the one thing, but one of the things that I'll give Gen 6 is that they made effort values more intuitive. It was monotonous, but it was still more intuitive.
Oh, it made fucking human sense without diving 3...
Well, yeah, you just play a little mini game to raise their effort values.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was the balloons.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shoot soccer balls at balloons, and then that is how you got your vaults to kick ass.
Boy, my Pokemon were way stronger when I just was not dating well. So the reason that we're doing all this Poke Chatter, other than it's sort of a generally interesting topic,
it's a really fascinating topic. Yeah,
that is a media pedigree going. I guess not going back forever, but the regularity of the content and
it's just always been there. Like, yeah. I think Pokemon, 1st gen of Pokemon, right, came out basically about when I had developed enough motor functions to start playing video games. So, There has been a time in my life when Pokemon did not exist, but I don't really remember it. Like, I remember it, certainly, but as soon as I was old enough to start picking the media that I watched, and enjoyed, Pokemon's been there.
And I guess the reason that Pokemon's interesting to me, even though I haven't played as many of these, I mean, I guess I've played a lot by general non-gaming obsessive standards, but not a lot by Pokemon fan standards. But the reason that it's sort of interesting to me, and part of why we're doing this episode, based on a comic based on Pokemon, and I should cue that up.
Right, yeah. No, the idea here was that we would read this one kind of infamous comic amongst the Pokemon fandom, the Electric Tale of Pikachu, or
Pikachu's Electric Tale. There are multiple translations.
There are a lot.
Of
there
this
are a couple
title,
of translations. It's the one that was drawn by Hende mangaka,
which is amusing and has one or two impacts. I guess it's interesting to me because when you are, I guess, this specific age, you've seen some cultural institutions grow up on the media front, but most things are just pre-established. Like, we came in and Star Wars was just there, Star Trek's built up, all that stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
But Pokemon kind of has that Harry Potter slot, and that's something that started when we were Kindlas, but it's not run by a bunch of TERFs, I guess.
Not that I know of.
Not that we know of. Maybe they have some very loud private opinions.
I don't know if there's, like, a second turf island.
Second turf island?
It's like
it's a Johto turf island.
Is Honshu turf island too? I hope not. Sorry, we love the good people of Honshu.
We do. And we comfortably mock the good people of England.
Oh, I don't give a fuck.
So... yeah, this thing, Pikachu's Electric Tail, Electric Story, whatever.
Denkeshi no Pikachu, something like Den something no Pikachu. It doesn't matter. That's the Japanese name.
The point is, you are one Google away from getting this right.
Yeah,
it has a few fun things about it. It's linear, but it skips things because you are familiar with the character, I guess.
It sort of assumes that you've been playing the games, you've been watching the anime, and even if you haven't, it doesn't bog itself down the way that the anime is kind of required to.
Yeah, it doesn't go through every gym or every transition, I guess. It's borderline episodic. In fact, it's purely episodic.
It is very
when it
episodic,
starts out.
yeah.
I don't know, let them do some different stuff. I actually was not really sold on this comic going into it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because it was a tie-in, but because I read the first two things and I just didn't feel that, I guess, pulled in by it.
Spark?
Yeah, that's... I was thinking, oh my god, am I just going to get like a stylized rendition of Pokemon anime episodes?
And then thankfully that didn't happen because you witness, I think, 3 gym battles in this entire manga. You witness the first 2 and then the Saffron gym battle.
Yeah, this thing is way more into the idea of doing and just sort of cutesy little side stories.
Yeah, just finding interesting little ways to just interesting stories to tell in this world.
I guess what I appreciate about where this went versus where it started out is that eventually they decided, all right, this is just going to be the weird Pokemon comic,
Yeah, this is just going to be kind of strange. Let's do strange stuff with it. And it's really fascinating because when you play Pokemon, when you play the games and you watch the anime, all of that is sort of, it's got to be contained within, in a visual sense, right? Within Ken Sugimori's sort of visual vision. Well, his vision of what the Pokemon world looks like and how people look and how they dress and what the Pokemon look like and how large they are and what they sound like and what they do, right? That whole thing, and that is kind of its own world right here or right there. And here's this one right here, which is some dude's interpretation of all that, and he has kind of been given license to do his own thing. And it's cool seeing that because just the different way that he chooses to draw these Pokemon. It's fascinating.
Yeah. It's weird seeing an interpretive lens on things that have such a direct house style grafted onto their face. Like, it almost feels like you're seeing them off model.
Yeah, I would call it like an orthodoxy.
Orthodoxy. Yeah, it's very, I think DC Comics definitely has, and Marvel a little less so, but there is just a way that Superman looks. And,
just the Jim Lee.
Yeah, and 85% of artists will not be allowed to
not draw
deviate.
The Jim Lee version of these. I mean, not that I don't like Jim Lee. I like Jim Lee's art style a whole lot. But
it's just funny to see that rule sort of at work, and I guess I do like that this drifts from that. This thing kind of has a different sense of humor sometimes than the other Pokemon stuff. And it gives it different strengths and weaknesses.
It's cheeky.
It's
extremely cheeky.
It is cheeky. Sometimes it leans a bit too heavy on sort of borderline shipping jokes, but
think Ono, right? Yoshihiro Ono. I want to get that right. I feel like I owe it to the guy to get it right. Let me go to Bulbapedia real fast. Toshihiro Ono, not Yoshihiro Ono. My apologies. He kind of has his own little interpretations of the characters, and that is the sort of angle that he decided to play up just a little bit.
Oh yeah, for better or worse, Ash is much spazzier in this one.
A little spazzier, a little bit hornier, which is weird because
notably, like, he has any breeding impulse whatsoever.
Right. Like, he's been so amazingly not about that at all in the anime for so very long. Like, I know that he's supposed. They write him like that because, the intended audience of the anime is, like 6-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
And, like, he's just a chaste cartoon character, but it's been fucking 25 years of this at this point, and I have decided to interpret him as asexual at this point because
he's just canonically jugheaded to you.
He's just fucking jugheaded to me. Like, it's strange seeing interpretations of him, and usually in other spin-offs too, he is similarly interpreted. Like, I'm pretty sure Red from the Pokemon Adventures or Pokemon Special manga, right?
Same deal.
They play up, like, the fact that he has, people who are interested in him, but he's less oblivious and more just, he's a little bit oblivious. He's kind of just off doing his own thing. He's a little bit more serious in the manga, in that particular manga than in this one or the show.
Okay. So when I was getting to the sense of humor,
yeah,
and the reason that it just stood out to me is there's one thing they did that I fucking loved once.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna point out that scene.
Yeah,
it occasionally drifts into a joke style they just never use in the other shit. Including one point, there was just a side story episode. Ash is teaming up with Gary Oak and spoilers, whatever. And at one point, while talking about catching this one rogue experimented on Slowpoke, wherever the fuck.
I fucking love that.
Gary Oak just goes on this tear. We have to capture it. It's going to upend our entire capitalist system. We need to save the nuclear family, Ash. And Ash saying, what are you talking about? And that is just a style of humor I would have never... Because all the normal Pokemon jokes are like either slapstick or sort of poke puns or whatever.
Oh, there's so many fucking puns. I went back to research this episode. I went back and I watched a couple episodes of the original anime, which has been sort of, in retrospect, dubbed the Indigo Saga, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to be the very best. That one. The one with that theme song, right? And there's so much fucking pun shit going on in that. Honestly, it's some of my favorite stuff about it. Like, they're dumb. Extremely dumb.
Oh, I'm surprised, because what I actually liked about the humor is that it got away from that, because that shit annoys the crap out of me. But it had its own fun little things.
As I get older, I enjoy stupid shit more. Honestly. That's why I like scatological humor now more at age 28 than I did at age 19, where I was pretending I was above it.
You brought up the theme song.
Yeah.
I want to point out something funny that always just struck me about the Johto thing.
Yes.
When the black marketing heart behind all things just exposed itself for 1 second in the middle of the theme song.
Right, we were talking about this earlier.
And there's a lyric. I'm not going to sing it because I'm not exactly pitch perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But the lyric just goes, there's a whole new world to live in, ellipses. And you've still gotta catch them all. And I know it's supposed to be like this call to adventure, but it just feels like a guy of like the suit and glasses threw the door open and said, remind them they've gotta catch them all.
See, that was never the philosophy with which I approached playing the games. I approached it sort of like I was the fucking GM of a baseball team, right? And I had a budget to work with here. I've got 6 slots on this team, and I need these 6 slots to be filled by the best motherfuckers, the hardest dudes that I could fill them with. And so I will kind of construct just that team of 6 or so. I don't care about catching, fucking Hoot Hoot, because Noctow's not going on my fucking team. He's not adequately Smogon.
When it came to catching Pokemon, my disease, I had that thing where you start a new semester or you move to a new apartment and you say, I'm going to keep this room clean every day. And I will go through the first, maybe even 3 or so towns, legitimately trying to do this catch 'em all shit. And by the time I start hitting the gimmick gyms like the Poison Maze or whatever, I just stop caring.
See, the one
Not about the game, just about catching all the fucking Pokemon. Because once again, I'll see a Hoot Hoot or something and say, no, fuck off.
No, fuck off. I don't fucking want it. No, fuck off. The one thing, and this is, again, to Gen 5's credit, is that they drop you into this place where everything is completely new. None of the Pokemon you've seen before, at least if it's your first playthrough, which, at one point, oh god, almost 10 years ago now, it was, Lord, you don't actually have any context. Is this Pokemon going to be worth training up, or is it just a curiosity, or is it just, literally a fucking Audino, which exists to be killed? Do you remember Audino?
I do not remember an Audino.
So Audino is a Pokemon that shows up in Gen 5. It's rare. Or it's actually not that rare, but Gen 5 had this little mechanic where sometimes the tall grass would rustle, and if you went to the rustling grass, it would be a different Pokemon than usual in that in that area on that route, right?
That's a cool
and
gimmick.
Usually it would be an Audino, which is this kind of Ursat's Chansey with okay stats and a whatever ass move pool. It doesn't matter. You got more experience points than usual for defeating it than you would of something else of its level.
Oh, so it was a sacrifice.
It existed to die. Yes. And it was really easy to kill, too, because it mostly knew defensive or, help out in a double battle moves.
Freak its legs, Pikachu! That was the gag I also enjoyed in this comic, by the way. Every now and then, its portrayal of a squash match would be amusing, because it would just be Pikachu with some dumbass pose and something else being deep fried.
Deep fried, yeah. What I liked is how it occasionally got creative with matches. Matches sort of have to go in the anime, right? In the anime, or in the games, because that's literally how the games are constructed. The way that they go. And in this, because, he had some amount of freedom in how he was allowed to tell the story, he's like, okay, this gym match is going to be hey, I just stole your hat. If you can get it back for me, you can have the Cascade badge.
I remember there was that. There was the one where, to qualify for him, he make his fucking Pokemon dance, which honestly was a sequence I found tiresome, but it was creative.
It was silly.
The thing about me and the way I think this will be the eternal Weeaboo Hell caveat.
Mm-hmm.
In the evaluation of youth-oriented media or romance-oriented media, and just me as a critic, just remember that I don't have a heart. And there is just this wooden block with little holes that filter blood to the rest of my body in the most efficient manner possible. That said, We Never Learn does just suck shit, but back to Sam.
We Never Learn does fucking suck. And this is from a dude who enjoys romantic subplots.
Yeah.
This comic does fix one or two things that annoyed me about the original anime in places. For instance, it has a finish that...
It has
God
a
damn
finish.
It has a finish that protects Ash just a little bit. I can't help it.
It's kicked into us.
It's just part of me now. It has a finish. The finish to his match with Richie during the Indigo Championship arc protects Ash in a way that the original didn't, that I thought was fucking bullshit because he looked like a fucking chump out there.
Yep.
I want to say that his fucking Charizard got his ass kicked by a Charmander. I was like, what the fuck? You fucking buried him! Or something. Something to that effect happened.
It's like Ash is gonna be back next week doing dances with the New Day.
Yeah, exactly. So what I liked was that didn't happen. Disclaimer, I can't actually remember how that fight went in the original anime. If any of you do, then let me know.
Honestly, you don't need to remember a specific season, because for a long time, he just gets chumped out at the end of the show.
He just always gets chumped out. I can't remember which generation it was. I want to say it was Hoenn, that he fucking loses to a fucking cowboy Meowth, which is... I don't know how he kept going on after that. I would have quit.
It's called Xanax.
I wouldn't have been able to fucking show my face in public again after that.
You would see my Pokemon just
after
popping up in shelters.
Booked into the fucking center of the earth that way.
You're going to see him just making Digimon signs in the air like WCW or something.
So the way that they handled this fight in Electric Tale of Pikachu is much more graceful than they did in the anime, which is he cannot keep his Charizard under control, and it's actually threatening to kill Richie, actually just kill
just gank
Richie's Charizard, so he forfeits the match just as a means of keeping that from happening. And wouldn't you believe it, he stays intact as a character.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem like an incompetent doofus.
You could keep reading and say, hey, this isn't a literal spineless piece of jelly I'm just watching roll from island to island saying, what a colorful new biome for me to fail in.
Oh, speaking of rolling from island to island, an arc that I remember liking a whole lot more than everyone else did, the Orange Islands arc, is the final arc, I guess, of there aren't really arcs in this comic so much as just episodes.
Sort of clusters of content.
But like, yeah, it covers everything up to, like, right before he went to Johto in the anime. I loved those chapters, or I loved these chapters.
I thought it was basically way stronger from when he got to the first league to the ending.
Yeah.
I think it's a little wobbly early on. The Clefairy thing is kind of amusing.
Oh, I fucking loved Bishonen Oak. That was
okay.
Weird.
Muscle Oak is such an idiosyncratic choice.
I just never. Yeah. This is how did you fucking find a way to interpret this character as a fucking Chad, and they did it, and I so respected the audacity of it.
You just imagine him doing resistance bands between scenes.
It's these fucking liberties that he takes in this manga. Oh, here's a really fun thing. In this manga, we are introduced to the gym leader, Sabrina. I do not know of a single character in this or anywhere else who's had so many wildly different interpretations across entries in a franchise.
This was very different than...
Sabrina is not one character. Sabrina is like 7 at this point. They all just happen to share a name and I guess not even jobs. Sometimes they don't even have...
Can we talk about a based show Sabrina for a second?
Oh yeah, so based show Sabrina was a fucking nightmare. She was the fucking kid from The Exorcist.
You go to these other gyms and, you know, the attitude would be, get ready for a fun old competition.
Your mother fucks dittos in hell.
And you're sending 12-year-olds to go deal with her as her head spins around 3 times as he pukes into a corner. Is someone concerned about this shit?
I am. Now, that's the anime interpretation of Sabrina. The Pokemon special interpretation of Sabrina is actually more sinister. She's literally just a Team Rocket executive in that one.
Great.
Is ridiculously evil. Like, Team Rocket in the Pokemon Adventure comics, stupidly evil. Like, they're like bad guys in the anime. They are, you know, I mean, your enemies in the comics, not the comics, the game. In the manga,
the concept really only leaves room for 2 tones.
Mm-hmm.
It either has to be wacky, or they are poachers with a super soldier project. There's not really a sensible middle ground.
Yeah, it's in that way sort of Jesse and James. Well, here's the thing. Jesse and James do not exist in the Pokemon Adventures manga that I remember. They might. I don't think they... Do they? Fuck, I don't remember, man.
Maybe, maybe not. They had a fun thing in this comic where they just talked about how their backstory was they were trainers and oops.
I enjoyed them in this comic. I'm just gonna go and read Pokemon Adventure, and maybe they show up. I don't remember that they do, but it was, again, decades. Literally
Sam
decades.
Might have more to say about this topic.
Yeah, who'd have fucking thunk?
You guys can't see. I'm doing a spit take. It's being launched across the room. It's hilarious. Whoever made this comic really likes Clefairies. I don't know.
It's a fun design. Yeah, I mean, everyone... So here's an interesting thing. There's a manga that's just called Pocket Monsters, right? Which is this gag version of Pokemon, right?
Okay, it's like 4-panel strips kind of thing?
Oh, it's a young... I don't know. But I just know that it is very gaggy. Ash has 2 signature Pokemon in that one, which is Pikachu, it's per usual, and Clefairy. Clefairy is this Pokemon that's kind of halfway associated with, you know, some of the versions of Ash, specifically the one from Pocket Monsters.
I did not know.
There was actually this episode in 3rd Gen when they were in Hoenn where they just watched a whole bunch of shorts, and it was like this fun little episode where like the animators were allowed to have fun and like do some vignettes or whatever, where they just watch a short based on the Pocket Monsters manga, and, you know, like Red from Pocket Monsters, you know, is there with his, you know, goofy looking Clefairy. So that's a fun little thing where like, the manga kind of crossed over. This was actually one of the comics that I wanted to read for this episode. We may yet get to it.
We have time. We have to iterate this podcast forever.
It's also ongoing.
Until we die.
So it's ongoing. It's like he just continues showing up and getting into goofy shit in, Unova or Kalos or whatever.
That's cool. They can have their own little below decks thing running.
Yeah.
Oh man, it is really funny that parody is doing better than the rest of the franchise.
No comment. I
have comments. I'm a deep commenter.
I have not actually watched either Discovery or Picard.
All right, I'll throw a comment in. No one asked for more 7 of 9. All right. The market was not hungry for more 7 action.
How much screen time does she eat up in Picard?
A fifth?
That's a lot.
That's a lot of 7 of 9, yeah.
I know that Alison Pill is in that, and I like Alison Pill a whole lot, so that is a reason that I would watch that series.
If I could dig into particulars again, because I'm just a little stronger than that, than like the broader conclusions due to my various attention span based weaknesses.
Sure.
I like that they, in the pacing of this thing, they basically followed one entire tournament, skipped all the badge stuff, and in that, was it Indigo? Yeah,
Indigo, yeah.
And they go through the Indigo Island tournament, and not only do they not bury Ash in the ending, but they actually thought of fun little things to do within the matches.
Yes.
Which is amusing, and
spots, you could call them.
You could call them spots. Yeah, so I really like the G1 this year. I think Ash's Jay White is pretty cool, and
the thing that I kind of liked is how and that this manga ended, in that A, that it did end, and B, the sort of
it ended with him achieving something.
It ended with him achieving something, and the thing is that you know exactly what he is going to be getting up to for the rest of his life. You do not need another 15 seasons of this show to fucking tell you.
Yeah.
So every single season beyond, I want to say, the first or maybe first couple, just so that you got enough content to state yourself, right? Let's say beyond Johto, right? Every single season beyond Johto that he's shown up in has felt not like a spoiler necessarily, but redundant. Because you know that he's going to be getting up to this shit. Anything that happens is not going to be too amazingly surprising. I guess the only surprises come in what his team ends up being when he inevitably finishes, in the top 4 or 8 or whatever it happens to be this year. Which is why I'm now going to make my fucking case. And I'm not even the first person to make this case. But Pokemon should have been like Digimon. Pokemon should have been like Digimon, where the characters are allowed to age and grow. And you don't see them for long periods of time. But that's okay, because when they come back, they are older now. They will have interactions with the new protagonists.
I don't know. That would only make things more interesting, watchable,
fun,
trackable. And
I like the idea that at this point, if they were, kind of having things progress, even at half the pace that they have in real life, right? Because it's been, it was 1999 when the first anime aired.
Eternal recurrence. Is this our Gilgamesh, just this
20
kid,
years.
This homeless child wandering around?
So it's been 21 years at the very least, right? Since Ash set out on his journey. For us in the States, it's been 22 in Japan. I think all of our episodes.
This franchise has been around for longer than I've experienced healthy democracy.
Aired about a year later. But then, let's say you have time progress at half the rate it does. That's still 10 years, right? Let's say 10 years have passed in the Pokemon anime verse. That's fascinating. Think of all the stories that you could tell.
Oh man, by now he could be wandering around like Proto Man. You have to
and you have to fight him. He's come to conclusions about the Pokemon world, and they are not optimistic ones.
Bury the past. You have to leave it behind, Green.
There are no heroes left in Pokemon.
He's got a Raichu with an eye patch.
Oh god, right? No, that would kick so much fucking ass. And yet he's still 10. He's still fucking 10. And here's the fucking
Just
devil of it.
waiting for that other ball to drop.
Here's the fucking devil of it, is that the narrator, right? Back when the narrator was a character, and I liked the narrator as a character. He was kind of fun. I think he was Brock's voice actor. Don't quote me on that. But the narrator would occasionally reference how much time it has been since, he set out on his journey.
Oh, they had to drop that, huh?
So, I think towards when he was getting his fucking soul badge in the Indigo arc, the narrator just came out and said, "It's been several months." So I don't buy anymore that he is 10 years old.
You don't like the Forest of Lies?
It's impossible to believe. It's impossible to believe that he's failed to age this entire time. Like, if you do the math, he's spent maybe a couple of weeks in each region. Couple of weeks.
I like to imagine him just hiding shaving gear as the camera pans over to him.
Every episode takes place over the course of about 1 day, right? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up right now.
Holy crap, how many episodes of this fucking nonsense has there
That's
been
what I'm
at
looking
this
up.
point?
That's what I'm... There have been 1,128 episodes. So at the very least, fucking least, it's been a little bit more than 3 years. And it's always implied that several days have passed between one episode or another.
So he should be kicking into his early 30s at this point, with his black cloak, having made certain conclusions about the nature of Pokemon and man.
Pokemon and man, and not conclusions that anyone would find at all palatable.
He's watched the Overton window of legendary Pokemon pursuit increase. He knows this world cannot survive another.
Imagine a fucking episode based on the encounter that Gold has with him on Mount Silver. Would that not be the most kick-ass shit?
I could smile at that. That would make me feel positive emotions. I remember positive emotions.
I think I'm only getting this fired up because Red as a character is... There are characters in sort of, I guess, the Western canon, or honestly not even just the Western canon. Like the Monkey King is one such character. Characters that have had more than a dozen, or upwards, at least a dozen different interpretations throughout however many years. Like your Sherlock Holmes, your Batman, your Monkey King, your, Ash / Red.
Every sort of eternal occurrence character, like your Sherlock Holmes, etc.
And there's something...
I still want to see Lucy Liu Watson.
I imagine it's very networky.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine you're going to watch this, and your reaction will be, this is a network show.
Oh, Sherlock Holmes is solving Law and Order crimes now.
Maybe it's very competently put together, but at the end of the day, it's still a network television show.
Yeah. Though they're probably not Law and Order SVU plots, because that show is so beautifully beyond all human logic
so
at this
fucking
point.
Stupid.
I will never forget the Underground Fight Club.
The Underground Fight Club, and it didn't even stay there.
The ending plot point was that there was a woman in her mid-30s, I think, who had been pretending...
masquerading as a 16-year-old, yeah.
Moving from home to home.
I know that SVU is propaganda. I know that, but it's also just so fucking batshit sometimes that I cannot help but find it fascinating.
It's not focused enough to even be true, pernicious propaganda.
It's too insane, honestly.
It's too insane.
It doesn't live in this world.
Feels like cops on fucking Mars.
It's the reason that I'm okay watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because these are cartoon characters here. It's sort of like the same thing, except there are Crumb characters in SVU.
I'm going to love seeing how Brooklyn Nine-Nine tries to struggle through modernity in this next season.
Yeah, woof, right?
Woof. First off, they just need to... They're gonna have to look at half their audience and just... I don't know which side they're gonna have to just gently wave goodbye to.
Just this is a podcast. I was shrugging my shoulders very exaggeratedly just now.
Right, yeah, there are no visual cues. Oh man, you guys are missing so many amazing sight gags. My face is a walking just archive of human humor.
Yeah, you would not believe how expressive I am as a person. The way that my face is not frozen in a sort of, dissatisfied...
When our Man's Eye act hits Netflix...
Y'all are not fucking prepared for it.
They really should rotate the fucking protagonist.
They should rotate the protagonist. You know how much... Okay. So, the year is 2004. It's the first time I play a Pokemon game and am able to actually make decisions that lead to me beating that game. I had to go back and beat Red and Gold, right? I loved the character design for the male protagonist in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, right? I loved his hat that looked like hair. That was cool. His outfit or whatever. And I wanted to see this guy. I wanted to see more of this guy. I wanted to know what his personality was like, right? Because all he was to me was just, a silent proxy.
Ash. You will accept Ash.
It's almost a meme. It's an in-universe
Almost.
meme that it is a meme. It's an in-universe meme that Red's personality is that he kicks ass and doesn't talk. Those are his two character traits, and honest to God, he's one of my favorite, not just video game characters, but just protagonists of all time. Just those two things, and his character design and his role in the world, they all come together. It's great. But you can't keep doing that, especially because these characters just don't recur the way that he and Blue have.
Yeah.
He shows up in Gen 7, and it's great. It's great. It's great because he's older now. He's at least 21, possibly as old as 31, and his character design has changed.
You have come to the mountain to face me.
Well, he actually comes to you. There's this thing called the battle tree. It's some of the mountains and mountains of shit that gets piled on. I'm not shit in terms of quality, but shit in terms of volume.
He has a very smiley, glowing face right now in 2020. That I had forgotten what the human smile looks like, and here I am observing it. It's giving me memories.
Oh, there's this Pearls Before Swine strip from a couple of months ago that kind of sums up my my thoughts on just sort of being alive during this time. Which is, I was the pig character, saying, Dear world, you've been difficult lately, but I'm going to be happy anyway, because I can be difficult too. There we go. It is.
That's great. That is, that's tattooable. That guy has really been... It's nationally syndicated, but for where the newspaper comic strip is these days, it has really just consistently punched above its weight.
Yes, yeah, no, I love Pearls Before Swine. It's it does such simple fucking humor, and it's great.
In fact, out of all the things that have gotten animated adaptations from that world, I'm surprised that never got one.
I know that he'll never let them do it, and I respect the fuck out of him for it, but I want my fucking Calvin and Hobbes TV series.
God.
Just one season.
If CM Punk had never done that talk show...
Calvin and Hobbes is the CM Punk of newspaper comics. Yeah. You heard it here.
One of the best examples is taking your fucking ball and going.
And leaving.
Great times.
On his own fucking terms.
There are 2 or 3 more Pokemon comics we're going to look at in these subsequent episodes, right?
Let's say 2.
Okay, so 2.
We'll do adventures and we can look at pocket monsters.
Are these notably different in concept, or?
Yes, very much so. So, Pokemon Adventures does exactly what I've been wishing the anime does, in that, every time there's a new generation, we see these new protagonists. And the old protagonists age a little bit. They don't age a ton. I think Red is 16 at this point, rather than 30, which is what he should be.
Okay, so there's still some weird time dilation, but it's not
he's noticeably older and more experienced than, let's say, the protagonists of X and Y. Right?
But it's not frozen fucking Amber.
It's not frozen in Amber the way that Ash Ketchum is. Ash Ketchum lives in hell. I don't want to be him.
He's just doing the Sisyphus thing. You're just pushing the ball up. You lose in the semifinals.
He got there. In the Sun and Moon saga, he got there.
Good on him.
He finally did it. Which
he got to stop Ziggling.
He got to stop Ziggling, and then the latest season, the one that's not even an adaptation of the storyline of Sword and Shield. It's not even a badge quest thing anymore. He's just off doing shit sometimes, and every episode he goes to some other region to do some episodic thing.
All right, that's cool. Play.
Yeah, it's they're doing something interesting.
When he built a pool this big, I mean, this is why everyone loves the fucking Mandalorian, because you're just doing something different with the ingredients. Filoni doing Star Wars from now on, heading the ship. The Game of Thrones guys got.
Ooh,
they just got blitzed by life. Oh man, they
don't fucking end Game of Thrones like that, asshole. It's not difficult.
Oh man, they didn't even get to do their fucking Confederate whatever the fuck thing, right?
I hope not. That's a terrible idea.
I kind of want to see it.
I know. You like to see terrible things happen.
If there was a show that was just meteors hitting villages, I think I would watch it. Anyway, this has been part 1 of the Festival of Pokemon.
Pokemon Hell. It's Pokemon Hell.
It's Pokemon Hell. Welcome to Pokemon Hell. It's Pokemon Hell. This time, Ash got to leave. I am Dennard Dayle.
I am Sam Lagow. I was trying to think of a color that I could assign to myself just now, but it's too late.
It's cool. You have another episode to figure that shit out. I would do a sight gag with Black, but this is a podcast, so no one's going to get that shit.
There's already a protagonist named Black.
So yeah, you can go to weeaboohell.com or seemoreevil.com, and that's our home base. Thank you for listening. We like doing the show for you. We hope you're doing well. May you eat the local wealthy barons about you and have a great one.
Fuck 12.
Fuck 12.